What's going on, everybody? Trevor Alexander here from Save and Sip, where we bring you financial sense in a social way. On today's very special show, I'll be discussing Black Greek letter organizations, and more specifically, making an analogy between these organizations and investing into the stock market. So let's go straight to the whiteboard. Here on the board, I have 3 columns. On this furthest column, I have the fully written out names of these Black organizations. Alpha Phi Alpha, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Delta Sigma Theta, Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho, and Iota Phi Theta. I'm only doing that one time. On the middle column, I have what's known as symbol tickers, and on the last column, I have share prices. So the first column needs no explanation. These 9 organizations together make up what's known as the Divine Nine, and they fall under the National Pan-Hellenic Council, the NPHC. The middle symbol, what is a symbol, what is a ticker, and how does it relate to the stock market? Anytime a company is publicly traded on the stock market, it has to have a symbol. A symbol is typically 1 to 4 letters, and it's how people look up the companies they want to invest in. When they log into their investment apps like Robinhood or Fidelity or TD Ameritrade, you have to type in a symbol. For example, Amazon is AMZN. Like the alphas would be like Amazon, just because they're the biggest, the baddest, and they running the show right now. Another company would be Apple, AAPL. There's other companies like Visa. Their symbol is simply V. Now, most symbols they just sound like the company. So ALPH would be alphas, or SGMS would be the sigmas. But here you see I have PRTY for the Kappas. No, that is not party. They don't throw the best parties, but they call themselves pretty. Some companies choose to have symbols that kind of relate to what they do. So Dave & Buster's, their symbol is PLAY, play, because when you go to Dave & Buster's, you play. Or Spirit Airlines, they're known for really cheap tickets. Their symbol is SAVE, save. So when you want to invest in a company, you look up their symbol. Let's say that these fraternities and sororities were traded in the stock market. Their symbols might look something like this. Shout out Omega Psi Phi, a lot of good brothers. They're just known as the Qs. The Deltas are known as the Reds. The Zetas are known as Finer. Iotas, SG Rhodes. For some of these, I kept it simple. So if these companies were on the stock market, they would have a symbol. Cool. Now let's talk a little bit about this column, the share price. They all have different prices, and just because a company has a really high share price or a really low share price doesn't mean that it's a good or a bad stock or good or a bad company. A lot of this can be driven by hype, by news. Sometimes, the highest priced companies are the most valuable and mean the most, like Amazon, as of today, is selling at like $3,000 per share. So when I say the hype in the news, what do I mean? Let's say, all of these organizations, they really do the same thing. They advocate for their community. They do service. They're big on grades. They do events. They push people to go vote. They do all the same things, but they're also known for their really individual, unique characteristics as well. So let's get into that. Let's say the Qs. Let's say the Qs were having one of the biggest cookouts coming up. They had all the chicken on the grill. Everybody was hype about this cookout. Their share price off the hype alone might go up from $60.11 to $75, because everybody knows that this cookout's gonna bring so many people out that it's gonna make money for the Q's organization. They'll be able to take that money, reinvest it into other things. Cool. But let's say that cookout ends up being a bust. It rains, nobody shows up, they mess up the tickets, it's unorganized. Well, their share price might go from 60 down to 50 just as quickly as it went up, because it no longer happened. That's what I mean. A lot of people make money off of buying hype or rumors. You never really know. The stock market's extremely emotional. Now, let's say the alphas, for example. I said at the beginning, we're like Amazon. People know at this point that we just make big things happen. So if some news comes out that the alphas once again had the highest GPA on campus, it's not going to make our stock price go up dramatically, because people already expect that. People buy our stock at the price, knowing what they already know about us. So it's going to take us to do something crazy that nobody expected the alphas to do for our prices to shoot up. Now, everybody, can do what they do. to make the prices go up and go down. Let's talk about when a company comes to the stock market for the first time. Every company has to, every company starts off as private, and when you become public, a public company is traded on the stock market. When you think of private company, you might think Chick-fil-A. You can't buy stock in Chick-fil-A because they're a private company. They choose not to be on the stock market. The IOTAs, they're the newest of the fraternities, founded in 1963. Shout out Morgan State, where I received my MBA actually. That's where they were founded. When the IOTAs first came on to be a Black Greek letter organization, that could be looked at as an IPO. An IPO is an initial public offering, and that means a company goes through a whole bunch of things to come to the stock market. I don't know if y'all can hear the dog barking in the background. The Q's is a little pissed about their cookout, not panning out right. But when a company comes to the stock market, that's an IPO. Now, as I said at the beginning, these 9 organizations all fall under the MPAC, and that's the difference between investing into individual companies and investing to an overall index. If you weren't certain that the Sigmas and the Zetas were gonna throw the best party together, or if you didn't know what the Deltas really had going on, if they were gonna be on the yard or off the yard, or if one of their conventions was gonna be the biggest and the baddest, if you wanted to invest in all of the companies, you would buy shares of an index fund. You would look up on that same investment app, MPH. This fund would be made up of 11% alpha, 11% AKA, Kappa, Q, Delta, Sigma, Zeta, SG Rho, IOTA, and all of those organizations together will make up the MPAC fund. So if you were like, I don't want to choose, I just want to put my money into MPH, well, if the alphas throw a very bad party, but then the Sigmas turn around and do something great, and then the Qs do something okay, it all averages out to what the MPAC is doing. And so there, your money will probably be a bit less prone to risk and hopefully grow over time by just putting your money into the MPH fund. Yes, you could buy this fund and also still invest into the organization you believe in the most, but this can be looked at as the same as the big stock market. You have all of these big companies like Apple, Amazon, Tesla, MasterCard, you name them. These companies have their own individual stocks, but then there's funds that you can buy so that you can have exposure to all of them. So hope you learned something. Stay with us. Shout out to all the Black Greek letter organizations for all the great work you're doing, and keep leading the way. We got to put our money in the right places, and I hope this is a start or something to build upon your knowledge base. So keep grinding. See y'all soon.